Hey there guys, it's George here and hello from Portland, Oregon. Very excited to be here. Absolutely exhausted. Absolutely freaking exhausted. My God, what a, yeah. So 3 flights. I think I was on a plane for, I don't know, 16 hours or something like that. So anyway, I'm really glad to be here, but I thought I'd make a very quick podcast called Finished Object Friday, because I want to show this to you guys because I'm giving this stuff away, right? So I thought I had to include it in the podcast. So one, I've documented that I actually made stuff, and two, that I just wanted to share some of the stuff that I've created. So I've got some really special friends that I'm meeting here in Portland on the weekend. So don't show them this. And I just wanted to show you the stuff that I've created for them. So first one is this really lovely. This is the Mobius Cowl, and this was I think on the blog I've actually put up the Craftsy class that I followed to create this, but it's by Kat. What's Kat's last name? But she's actually a really interesting knitter because she's she does all of this Mobius stuff. She's big on socks as well, but she was one of the the magic loop, right? Her part of the whole magic loop thing was the idea of getting two of the circular knitting needles and using them together as an early prototype of the magic loop, and then one of her friends actually came out with the magic loop. But I found that really interesting when I was watching a podcast just the other day. But anyway, this is really beautiful. It's a combination of two different merino yarns, hand dyed. But yeah, I think it's come out really nice. I'm loving these little pools of colors and greens, and oh yeah, big fan. So I like the Mobius Cowl, and the Craftsy class was worth it. I actually subscribe to the blue thing, so so when I'm working away, I just shove on a Craftsy, and so my blueprint, you have access to the whole Craftsy catalog, and you just keep on watching it. It's not too expensive; it's like $40 a month or something like that. But for this beautiful gift, I am very grateful. So that's finished object number 1. Now you've probably seen pics that I've shared on the on one of the Facebook Bears Who Knit, but I want to show you now the Stephen West knitted shorts, and the pattern's called Sport. Now this has taught me a lot, knitting these. First things first is don't set yourself stupid deadlines. So I decided to make these, and I really only had a week to make them, and that was a bit of a silly deadline, but I was able to make them. But of course I made some a few little design errors that in future I wouldn't do. For the scoop in the leg, one goes forwards, which is as per design, and the other goes backwards. I don't know how I managed to do that, because I sat down with the pattern and looked at it, and if I'd followed the pattern correctly, I wouldn't have made that silly mistake. But so what I've learned from that is, one, that while I started knitting to relax, I do actually have to pay a little bit more attention to the pattern and what I'm doing. But the other thing is that by checking on a regular basis, you can usually fix errors early rather than late. And it's easier to fix stuff early than late. But actually fixing my knitting has been liberating, because it means that I'm quite happy to unpick stuff and create a ladder and then sit back down and get a crochet hook out and fix it all up again. So that's been a good learning experience. But these are really fab. So these are made again with merino wool. So when I was blocking them, man, they are heavy. They are like super heavy. So definitely not for swimming in. I bought some acrylic yarn that can at least get a little bit more wet without getting too crazy heavy. But somebody on the group was saying that, oh no, you still can't swim in them because the acrylic yarn will stretch, and so I haven't quite found the recipe for knitted swimwear yet, but I'm getting closer. But at least with the acrylic yarn, it's kind of fun, and it comes in some colors. But I'm loving this marled effect here, and you know, I wanted to stay in the same retro chic. So yeah, I'm really happy with those. So they're my two finished objects that I'm giving as gifts to my friends here in Portland. I still want to visit some yarn stores here in Portland, so if anybody has any recommendations, I'm all ears. Now, as I did mention, I've just gotten off the plane, and I decided to start my first double knitting project. Now, I've never done color work with both hands, so that was really interesting, and this was my first double knitting thing, so it's been really a learning experience. So this was based off after I did the Soccer-matician Nathan's class last weekend. So this is the object so far, and this is the slideways scarf, and I'm actually pretty happy considering how much. And oh look, check this out, and totally reversible, which I am loving. Now, the other good thing about this particular pattern is in the double knitting, like a lot of the double knitting things are very block, and they don't do shaping and that. And so this is a really good project because it forces you to learn shaping. So there's lines of yarn overs, and you have to do yarn overs on the front as well as the back and make them symmetrical. So basically you do, say for example, if you're decreasing, and there's rows of decreases here, and one side is a just knit two together, but when you do the other side, it's actually a slip knit. Slip purl the two together, but through the back loop, because it has to, you've got to have symmetry on both sides, and that's just fascinating. But I'm loving the gold and the silver. That is looking way better than I imagined it was going to. So I'm really happy with that. But the other thing that I've learned is to be able to work with both hands with color, and I'm getting better at it. But like with the shorts, what I've learned from this is to keep an eye on stitch count, keep an eye on everything that's going on, because stitch count for double knitting is pretty important. And I've also, I lost a pair of stitches, and I'd probably gone about 10 or maybe more rows, and it was just like, no, I'm gonna have to frog this. So I did. I didn't frog it all the way. I just frogged it to where I frogged it. So I got to about here, and I had to frog it to about there, which was annoying, particularly on a dark plane. Like, it was really dark, and so I just had to turn the light on, and hopefully I didn't disturb too many people, but frogged it and started again and paid more attention. So yeah, that's the Soccer-matician Slideways, and you know, that's a really great scarf. So this is probably half of the motif, and the scarf is made of 12 of the full motif. So I'm happy with that day's work, but there's many more days to go into the scarf. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the double knitting, and it's really thick and nice and squidgy. So that's going to be a really nice scarf. So yeah, that's my finished object Friday. Well, not quite finished, but looking forward to exploring some of the stores here in Portland, and really looking forward to checking out San Francisco's knitting scene as well. Unfortunately, I can't make it to Vogue Knitting Live, which would have been like apparently it's a big freaking deal. But there you go. Anyway, I'm not making that, so maybe another year. But there'll be remnants, there'll be leftover Vogue Knitting Live when I get to San Francisco on Monday. So who knows? There's probably a few tired old knitters there who are like, oh, we'll knit for yarn or something funny like that. I don't know. I could insert rude stuff in there, and I probably will at some stage, but let's do that over beers or something. So anyway, there you go. That's the podcast for today. I'll pop some links and all of that sort of stuff below, and keep knitting. Have a good one. See you guys.